Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhangsa Prabhakacharya Asadhara Satushi Shiman. His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hadva Slava Zabrani Bhaktam. Slava Zabrani Bhaktam. Slava Zabrani Bhaktam. Slava Shiguru Shigarangi. Om Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutay. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tenamane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharane. Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskyatyade Siddharne. Om Agana Tivirandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksura Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stavitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Pandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Vrijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shiva Sakans Vitams Cha Hey Krishna Karna Sindho Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Prishubhanu Sudadevi, Pranamami Hari Priye, Vanchakapa Tribhyascha, Kripa Sinu Vyevacha, Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Questions by the Sages, text number 5. Text number 6. Rishaya Uva Uchu Tvaya Kalu Paranani Setu Hasani Vanaga Chanaga Akya Tanyapya Ditani Dharma Sahasrani Yanyuta Risha Uchu Tvaya Kalu Paranani Seti Hasani Chagnaga Akyatanyapyatitani Dharma Shastrani Yanyuta. Ladies. Tvaya Kalu Puranani Sahaizatani Chagnaga Agyadvaditani Dharma Shastrani Yanyuta. Rishaya, the sages. Uchu said, Tvaya, by you. Kalu, undoubtedly. Puranani, the supplements to the Vedas with illustrative narrations. Sa itihasani, along with the histories. Cha and anaga, freed from all sin, vices. Akyatani, explained. Api, although. Aditani, well read. Dharma Shastrani, scriptures giving right directions to progressive life. Yani, all these. Uta, said. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The sages said, respected Sutta Goswami, you are completely free from all vice. You are well versed in all the scriptures famous for religious life, and in the Puranas and in the histories as well, for you have gone through them under proper guidance and have also explained them. Purport, a Goswami or the bona fide representative of Sri Vyasadeva must be free from all kinds of vices. The four major vices of Kali Yuga are illicit connection with women, 2, animal slaughter, 3, intoxication, 4, speculative gambling of all sorts. A Goswami must be free from all these vices before he can dare sit on the Vyasa-san. No one should be allowed to sit on the Vyasa-san who is not spotless in character and who is not freed from the above-mentioned vices. He not only should be freed from all such vices, but also be well versed in all revealed scriptures or in the Vedas. The Puranas are also parts of the Vedas, and histories like Mahabharata or Ramayana are also parts of the Vedas. The Acharyas or the Goswamis must be well acquainted with all these literatures. To hear and explain them is more important than reading them. One can assimilate the knowledge of the revealed scriptures only by hearing and explaining. Hearing is called Shravana, and explaining is called Kirtana. The two processes of Shravana and Kirtana are of primary importance in progressive spiritual life. Only one who has properly grasped the transcendental knowledge from the right source by submissive hearing can properly explain this subject. Text again. Rishiya uchu tvaya kalu paranani seti hasani chagnaga agyatanyapyaditani dharma shastrani yanyata. The sages said, oh, respected Sutta Goswami, you are completely free from all vice. You are well versed in all the scriptures famous for religious life, and in the Puranas and histories as well. We have gone through them under proper guidance, have also explained them. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskatyade Sadarane. Srila Prabhupada starts by explaining that one has to be freed from the 4 pillars of sinful life. Or as I've mentioned many times, which is always good to repeat until we experience it or realize it, that the first step of spiritual understanding is to accept the principles of religious life, the regulated principles of religious life, which the 4 mentioned here. In other words, one cannot even be a human being unless one accepts these 4 principles. Even in the Vedic culture, Prabhupada writes in one purport that the Kshatriyas are not really considered to be humans for the most part. Of course, we have the Rajarshis, like Maharaj Yudhisthira, Maharaj Parikshit. They were Rajarshis. They weren't simply Kshatriyas. But persons like Jarasandha, Duryodhana, and others, although they were Kshatriyas, they followed dharmic principles for the most part. They were not considered dharmic completely, or they were not considered human completely, because they often would eat meat. Well, sometimes they eat meat that was killed in the jungle or offered in the sacrifice. Sometimes they took intoxication, soma, shatamani yagya. But they're certainly more human than most people are today. In any case, these 4 principles are the qualification to even begin to understand what religious life is. Without these four principles, one cannot be positively merciful, or clean, or truthful, or austere. And without these qualities, what's the difference between a human being and an animal? Even most animals are brahmacharis. The lion is a brahmachari for most of the year, and he has one mate, generally speaking. And although he breaks the principle of vegetarianism, but he's excused because he can't eat vegetables. The doctor doesn't prescribe it for him. He doesn't gamble, and certainly we've never heard of a lion going to a bar and taking intoxication. However bad things may get, he always remains sober. Although he may have some issues with anger sometimes. Still, he's considered to be quite regulated in his habits. So, a Goswami must be free from all these vices before he can dare sit on the Vyasa-san. So anyone who's sitting on the Vyasa-san giving a lecture about spiritual life, who can't follow these four principles, should probably go back and read a little bit about, and then come follow the four principles before he starts telling everyone else what to do. Then Prabhupada writes that no one should be allowed to sit on the Vyasa-san who is not spotless in character and who is not freed from the above-mentioned vices. He not only should be freed from all such vices, but must also be well-versed in all revealed scriptures or in the Vedas. Luckily, Sutta Goswami has spoken the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Krishna has spoken the Bhagavad Gita, which is the essence of all this knowledge. So we should hear Bhagavatam every day. We should become familiar with the principles of the Bhagavatam, and especially Bhagavad Gita, so that what we say is actually Anuvegam karam vakyam satya priya hitam chayat swaraya abhyasanam chaiva vangmana tapuchite. So that when we're speaking, we have different qualities. Anuvega karam vakyam. Often in Sanskrit, the last part of the verse that's translated, well, the first part that's translated into English is generally, sometimes it's the last part of the verse. They reverse things in Sanskrit for some reason, I don't know. So, Anuvega karam vakyam comes at the end of the translation. Satya priya hitam chayat. Swaraya abhyasanam chaiva. So, Swaraya abhyasanam chaiva means to study the Vedas, as mentioned here. If we're speaking outside of the Vedas, outside of Vedic knowledge, then we're just speaking, nonsense. Not completely nonsense, but pretty much nonsense. So therefore, swayaya, one should understand at least the essence of the Vedic knowledge. For instance, Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gita that the summary of the Vedic knowledge is just three things. There's God, there's the soul, and then there's the process of knowing God. That's it. Now, one thinks that's too simple. We have to, it's boring, just talking about God all the time. What to speak, they're going to tell me I'm eternal again. I heard that millions of times. Probably hear it in my next lifetime too. Couldn't care less. I'm eternal. I got to work hard so I don't die. And as far as the process of devotional service, that is knowledge. That's one who doesn't accept that. What is he going to accept? That we have to work hard for the body and things in relationship to the body. And therefore, what will they achieve by such activity? Even it says that Traigunya mam puta papam, that one studies the three Vedas to go to the heavenly planets, and he goes there. He actually reaches Indraloka, and he enjoys godly delights while he's there. But ultimately, he has to fall down and come back somewhere. all these people we see downtown Ljubljana, we can understand at one time, according to the Chaitanya Charitamrita, they were all Brahmas in some universe. Or maybe they were some highly placed demigod. And look where they are now. So they have to come down again. And what do they achieve? Kama kamate. They achieve only repeated birth and death. The end, they go up for a vacation to the heavenly planets, and then they come down, and they have to take another body and go up and down like a yo-yo. Sometimes you're on the Ferris wheel, you're on the top, you think I'm above everyone, and gradually the Ferris wheel comes down, and you're in the bottom again. So there's no achievement at all. You get your name in some book, in a history book, as I often say, Napoleon, he was a famous personality in the history books now. And every year they have a celebration for Napoleon's anniversary. They have a birthday party. And they have a big statue in France, in Paris, of Napoleon. So during the year, all the birds they come and make their offering to Napoleon on top of his head. And once a year they come and scrape off everything from Napoleon's head, all the offerings. They have the celebration, and then the next day the birds come and make offerings again. So the question is, where's Napoleon? For all we know, he may be one of those birds coming and making an offering. What was the value of, what did Napoleon actually accomplish for himself personally? No one really knows, but it certainly wasn't transcendental liberation. Therefore, one should at least know the essence before one talks, that we're eternal, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there's a process by which we can realize our eternity and realize Krishna. Otherwise, what are we talking about if we're not talking about those things? What is the value? Tell some story, some fable, get a few laughs, and then everyone walks away and thinks, what was that all about? No, it should be directed towards self-realization, or else we're missing the essence of what's being explained. Look at the Nectar of Instruction, which is a summary of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is a summary of our entire process, the devotional service. What does it say? That Tannama Rupacharitadi Kirtananu Smrityo Kramena Rasanam Anasi Niyoja Tishtan Vraje Tanaragi Jananugami Kalam Nagat Akilam Itapadesha Saram. That the essence of all advice, what is it? The essence of all advice is to utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely hearing and chanting about the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, eternal pastimes. And this way, gradually engage the tongue and the mind. One should live in Goloka Vrindavan and serve Krishna under the guidance of the Lord's devotees. And one should follow in the footsteps of the Lord's beloved devotees who are deeply attached to his devotional service. So in the beginning, we're trying to teach ourselves, teach others how to engage our tongue and our mind. Tongue represents, as it mentions here in the purport, vibrating about something important, vibrating about Krishna, the soul, about the process of realizing Krishna. This is important. Otherwise, according to the Nectar of Instruction, it's like a frog. Right, that wasn't a very good frog. Anyhow. Wah, wah, wah. Was that? We have a good frog here? So Prabhupada said the frog is croaking, rock, rock, rock. And he loves his sound. If he could, he'd make a record and sell it to all the other frogs. But what is he ultimately doing? He's simply inviting the black snake to come and eat him. The black snake. So people are also croaking like frogs and inviting the black snake of time to come and swallow them. Therefore, one should chant the essence of life. One should talk about. At least now there may be with the primary subject matters, and sometimes there's secondary subject matters. Like it's called Gauna Bhakti. These are also necessary to a certain extent. How to maintain the body nicely, how to regulate one's habits, etc. These are also, but they lead to devotional service. They lead to Krishna consciousness. And therefore they're considered to be also valuable. So it's not that anyone says anything but Krishna, then we immediately throw him out of the temple. How dare you say anything? And it's not that every time someone asks us a question, we say, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did it. Where is Jambudweep? Hare Krishna. How do we prepare parathas? Hare Krishna. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did that, every question practically. In the grammar, he would answer with Hare Krishna. Actually, Jiva Goswami wrote a grammar with all the names of the different subject, all the different alphabet, like adjectives and consonants and word order. They're all names of Vishnu. But we're not so advanced. The Puranas are also parts of the Vedas, and histories like Mahabharata or Ramayana are also parts of the Vedas. The Acharya, the Goswami, must be well acquainted with all these literatures. To hear and explain them is more important than reading them. What that means, I don't know, because we're reading it. All I can understand, to hear, because when we're reading, we're also hearing. But I guess just reading for the sake of reading is not considered very important compared to actually hearing what we're reading. We can read we can memorize verse after verse and recite it like a parrot. But if we don't listen to it ourselves, then we're just a parrot. If we don't understand what we're saying, we're just a parrot. Yatro paramite chitam niruda yoga sevaya yatra chevatmanatmanam atman pashati tushtati sukhamat yantikam yatad buddhigramatindriyam peti yatra chayvayam sitam chalati tatvataha yam lava chapalam lavam manite nadikam tata yasmin sito nadukena guruna pivichalyate tam vidyadukasam yogam viyogam yogasam gitam. But if I don't listen to it, if I don't understand what I'm talking about, then it's just like a parrot. Of course, it's a nice parrot. But still, it's in the category of parrot. I don't know if you teach a parrot to chant 16 rounds a day, how much spiritual benefit it gets. It must get something, because probably the parrot will chant more clearly than we're chanting. So it's got to hear something. But it's recommended to actually hear what we're reading also. One should assimilate the knowledge of the revealed scriptures only by hearing and explaining. So that's Shravanam Kirtanam. How can we remember something if we don't hear it? And unless we express it in some way, either by writing or speaking it, how do we know if we've understood it? Also, explaining or chanting is also acting on. As it says, actions speak louder than words. So it's not just by speaking we're chanting, it's also by acting on it. Unless we act on it, why will Krishna bother revealing it to us? This assimilation is not simply done by our own strength, it's done by the mercy of Krishna. when he gives us the memory to put 2 plus 2 together, and we become qualified to understand that it makes 4. We put 2 concepts together and understand where they intersect, what they actually mean. So that's by our endeavor to do it, beginning with hearing. Unless we hear, then there's no question of explaining, either by writing or explaining to others, or even try to explain it to ourselves, try to understand it. And unless we understand it, unless we assimilate it, then what value do we really get from it? Prabhupada said that the elephants, they eat that much, and when they go to the bathroom, they put back this much, the same amount. So we're constantly hearing and hearing and hearing, and we hear this much every day, and we forget this much every day. Then where's the gain? The gain is when we actually come to assimilate the knowledge and realize it in such a way as we can, with confidence, put it into practice so that we realize it. So hearing is called Shravana. One can assimilate the knowledge of the revealed scriptures only by hearing and explaining. Hearing is called Shravana, and explaining is called Kirtan. So that's what explaining is. So we have Kirtan. When people go out, we had Harinam yesterday, when people see us dancing like a madman, then they think these people might be crazy, but at least they're happy. We're sane, but we're miserable. So maybe it would be better to be crazy and happy than sane and miserable. So people see us, we're standing on the street. We don't even have, I guess we should have a basket. We're not even collecting money. Any sane musician out there would be collecting money. We don't even do that because we sell books, but that's a little sneaky. But we're just out there, we're just out there chanting and smiling and dancing. I mean, how many of our fellow musicians out there are dancing? Not very many of them. The 2 processes of Shravana and Kirtan are of primary importance to progress the spiritual life. Only one who has properly grasped the transcendental knowledge from the right source by submissive hearing can properly explain this subject. Properly grasp the transcendental knowledge. In other words, becomes experiential. One experiences the knowledge. It's not just theoretical, it's part of one's existence. It's like if you go and sell books, then suddenly you realize you're actually only an instrument. Because as long as we have a false ego and we're selling books, then everyone we meet, we just clash with their false ego. Here I am, I'm out here to save you, you fallen soul. Accept my mercy, or else, unfortunately, I know where you're going. So as soon as we meet the conditioned soul like that, one conditioned soul meeting another conditioned soul, the only thing you're going to get is a clash of egos. Excuse me, get out of here. Get lost. Get a job. Well, this is my job. Well, get back to your job. Don't bother me. But as soon as we have the idea that I'm here as a servant, I'm an instrument for Krishna, I'm here to serve you, then immediately a relationship can be there. Because everyone wants to be served. If we go out there, I'm here to serve you, then people think, oh, that's very nice. Thank you for coming. No one else out here is out here to serve me. But that's why I came here, looking for someone to serve me. So thank you. Nice to meet you. No one else is out here to appreciate me. Everyone's looking at me like, you think people look at us like we're strange. Well, people don't even look at each other nowadays. Even families sit at the table. They don't even look at each other anymore. If they want to send a message, they text each other on the table. They're afraid to say anything because they'll be, shut up, just eat your meal. But one can experience oneself to be an instrument for Krishna. Even if one doesn't distribute the book, even if people are not receptive, still one feels oneself, I'm an instrument, I'm depending on Krishna. Otherwise, how is it possible to do anything, especially in that service? It's not, from my experience, it's not possible. And as soon as we forget Krishna, as soon as we forget why we're out there, then the conditioned souls will be very kind to remind us. Therefore, although we're not seemingly saying anything of great significance, excuse me, where are you from? How many children do you have? Wow, you got a good family. What kind of work do you do? Wow, are you good at it? Although we're not seemingly saying anything of great importance, but this will be the difference between the person going to a dark destination and going back to Godhead, beginning his spiritual life, and going back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like we're in the process of doing it, no one could say exactly where we're on the point of the process between here and perfection we're at, but we're somewhere there, So even someone begins the process, then he'll eventually come to the perfection of life, just like we will. It's not that someone began the process and you're only allowed to go this far. No, as soon as they begin, they'll go all the way to the perfection eventually. It may take some time, but then it may take us some time too. But by distributing this process, by hearing and then explaining to people, explaining to others, then we make progress. And if we just keep it all to ourselves, then we may have to come back and someone may have to explain it to us again in the next lifetime. Start doing something to explain it to others. Oh, okay. Maybe if I start explaining, I didn't do it in my last lifetime. Maybe I should try and do it in this lifetime. So, although we're beginning with Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first verses, they're so profound that we should take them very seriously. Otherwise, we can go on, read the Bhagavatam again, get up to the 10th canto, may even go through it, the 12th canto. In the end, we ask, what did you learn? I don't know. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Yes.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for the lecture. I want to ask, it says here in the purport that to sit on the Vyasasan, a person should not only be freed from the four vices, from the forementioned vices, but should also be well versed in all the revealed scriptures and have a spotless character.
Okay,
what does that mean? So how we define the person with a spotless character?
Well, as I said, but I didn't complete the spotless character. Well, Prabhupada said there, they have to follow the four of the principles at least.
No, but he says, besides the following the regulatory principles, so being freed from the intoxication, gambling, and so on, and being versed in the scriptures, they have to have a spotless character. So I would understand that spotless character means more than just that.
Well, if you could take a picture of their character, then there shouldn't be any spots on it. I mean, character, there's 26 qualities of a devotee. So they should have some of those qualities. But the most important out of all of them is explained. They should be a devotee of Krishna. So even one is considered to be almost spotless. Apiched siddharataro bhajante mamananyabhak sador eva samanta vyak samyavyavasite histaha. Even if one is considered to be fallen, but if he's engaged in devotional, even if one commits some fallen activity, but if he's engaged in devotional service, he should be considered saintly. So generally speaking, one should be have good qualities. Then at least, unless you have some good qualities, especially of devotional service, some realization of devotional service, then what do you have to give to others on the Vyasa-san?
That leads me to the second question.
Okay.
So the second question is that it's also mentioned here, and you explained that only one who has properly grasped the transcendental knowledge from the right source can properly explain it. And you said that that means that they have some realization, some experience. And I want to ask, this is more of a managerial question, that we see that sometimes even neophyte devotees are invited to give class, because on the premise that everybody should learn how to give class, but at that point devotees have no training at all, and no experience and no realization. So the question is, what training is done in ISKCON for devotees to be able to know how to explain to others the scriptures?
We let them give class.
Sorry?
We let them give class.
Yeah, but that's the point, that we let them give class
Well, they
before they know how to do it.
The most intelligent person can learn by hearing. A little less intelligent person learns by experience. And someone who has no intelligence, they don't learn at all, no matter if they have experience or if they hear or have experience. So we give devotees a chance. Even Prabhupada, 1968, Janmashtami, I think it was 68, then in Montreal, it must have been 68, probably was in Montreal, he had all his disciples who were present there give the Janmashtami lecture, take turns. And they explained, they were actually pretty good. Janardan was there, he was one Janardan. He gave actually quite a good lecture, because they had heard from Prabhupada and repeated exactly what Prabhupada said. Therefore they were qualified. Otherwise, none of us are qualified to speak.
Yeah, but in practical terms, because many devotees, they don't have experience in actually speaking in public or so on.
Well,
so
they should have something experience. I mean, here we have a small temple. If we only restricted it to, the topmost Paramahamsas, we wouldn't have very many speakers.
No, the question is, how do we train the devotees? Not to restrict them, but
we
to
train the devotees, they can come to class. They should come to class before they start speaking. And so hear how someone else gives class. Hear what they're talking, and they can read Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada's books tell you how to give class also. Or listen to Prabhupada's classes, how he gave class. What did he talk about? How did he, one second.
But you also learn with experience.
Yes.
So,
Well,
fine.
you can get feedback from
Upgrade learning of speaking.
Yes. Especially if you get feedback. You give class the best you can. You hear Prabhupada's lectures, you read about, the Bhagavatam is full of advice how to give class. And Bhagavad Gita, when you speak, anuvega karam vakyam, satya priyatam chaya, swadaya vyasanam chaiva, vangmana tapuchate. Austerity of speech is don't agitate people, say things which are following the Vedas, study the Vedas, say things which were beneficial, which are pleasing, which are truthful, and which don't agitate people's minds. So we can think about when we're giving class, am I saying something which follows the Vedas? Am I trying to be pleasing to the devotee, to the audience? Am I saying something which is beneficial, something which is truthful, and something which doesn't agitate their minds? So we have guidelines there. And how do we know how do we know what the mind is? Well, Nak prasadam sonya tvam monam atma vinigraha bhava samshidir ityeta tamo panasam uchate. So we know we want people to learn with their minds how to become equi-minded, tolerant, manak prasadam, satisfied. We try to encourage people to be satisfied in Krishna consciousness, to be grave, monam, atma vinigraha, be regulated in their lives. Bhava samshidir, and pure, So we know this is our objective. At least we're trying to help people purify their minds so they can have a pure Krishna conscious experience. So we learn, we read and we learn, and whatever we realize we express. And then we get feedback from others how to improve. But anyone Prabhupada had devotees lecture after just a few months in the movement. And actually they were quite good. Krishna is in our heart. If we just stick to repeating what we heard from the bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciples of succession, then it'll come out quite well. Krishna will help. Yes.
I was thinking about, just like it is mentioned that we should speak in such a way which is pleasing and it's not disturbing to others, and which aligns with the Vedas, with the scriptures. So I'm thinking that, generally the truth is actually, it can disturb people's mind, and even the Shastras. I know personally some devotees like I know personally some devotees who can get, or aspiring devotees, who get disturbed. They got disturbed with the scriptures. Some things are written very straightforwardly, and even some people I know are, they get disturbed with what Prabhupada says, because sometimes he speaks very straightforwardly, and so.
Yeah, therefore Prabhupada didn't always quote from scripture either. If you're trying to convince someone of better not to disturb their minds, say going on book distribution, say, you give them Bhagavad Gita. Do you know what this Bhagavad Gita says about you? This is the absolute truth. You should read it, 16th chapter especially. How many people buy the book? What benefit is it? So we want to benefit people. We're all Krishna's eternal servants. And our only business is to help others become Krishna conscious. So we have to be careful that what we're saying will actually encourage them to become Krishna conscious.
Another question is, like you mentioned that so many people here, they could have been Brahma, but now they have fallen on this planet again. So I was thinking about the demigod worship, that for example, in India, so many people are doing this demigod worship, but when we read the scriptures, it's mentioned properly how it is supposed to be, how it is supposed to be. How it is supposed to be executed, the worship to the demigods. So I was thinking that actually people are not even doing it according to the rules and regulations which is actually mentioned in the scriptures, how they should worship the demigods to begin with, So I was thinking that they think that they are actually doing the demigod, let's say Lord Shiva. They're actually worshipping Lord Shiva, but they're actually not doing it how the scriptures want them to do it. So I was thinking that, it's not that what destination they could have if they're not.
They get benefit, because at least they're worshiping Lord Shiva. Look at Vrikasura, how he worshipped Lord Shiva. He went to the Himalayas and he's cutting flesh from his body and throwing it into the fire. And then Lord Shiva didn't appear, so he thought, all right, let me go and offer my head to the fire and see if Lord Shiva appears. And he went bathed and then put his head over the fire and took a knife and he's going to cut off his head and throw it into the fire. And Lord Shiva appeared. I don't know if there's any part of the Vedas that describe cutting off your head and throwing it into the fire. But he got the result. He was sincere.
So it means there's some sort of benefit for them, even though it may not be.
Yeah, of course, they're approaching the right source. They may not. We're just saying Hare Krishna. If they pray the demigods, it's not the demigods are indifferent. Gajendra, what did he do? He had a severe pain in his foot, so he prayed to the. He didn't even know who he was praying to. Whoever the Supreme was, come and help me. Put up and then Vishnu came and saved him. But if we follow the Vedas, it's much more likely you'll get a bigger result, that's all, if we do it strictly, because it concentrates the mind more, and it's more in the mood of following the authority. But still, approach the right person depending on, then you get the result. Even people who come here and they just put some money in the donation box, they get a benefit. Yes.
My answer is, if you are a young devotee, for example, and you have like occupation that you take lectures around Slovenia, is it possible that you include Krishna consciousness knowledge in these lectures?
I don't quite understand.
Okay, so if someone have like occupation,
Yeah.
that
I see. Yeah, which is reaching the public, like.
Yeah. Can I spread Krishna consciousness also in my lectures?
As long as you don't lose your job.
No, I
or
won't.
your audience.
No. I won't lose my job, but it's a question because.
Well, you have to see. I mean, George Harrison, for instance, he was quite successful. My Sweet Lord and other types of things he put into his song.
Yeah.
But we have to be careful that we don't, that we reach our audience with a message, but we don't lose their attention.
No, I'm very polite and not pushy.
Yeah.
So
What's the problem then?
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Hvala Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.
they are coming Friday evening and leaving Sunday morning.
Yeah, we'll have this write it down.
And also Mataji Yolanda with her daughter are coming Friday evening like 8 o'clock and leaving 5 o'clock in the morning. So
It's expensive staying there.
I don't know how we will make with the darshan. The devotees from Bulgaria said they want to come all 5 at the same time.
Okay, yeah, so let's.
All 5?
Yes, in fact, I will explain. In between lunch and initiation, I don't think there is time.
It's like 1 hour.
It's like, yes, I mean, until we eat, it will be around 4 o'clock.
We'll have the initiation a little later.
Yeah.
Initiation, it was
5
scheduled
o'clock.
for 5 o'clock.
I don't know. It just, you have to put the darshan and gospel together.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's only 24 hours.
Yeah, yes, I know. So if you don't have any meetings on Saturday and we can, book,
No, there won't be any.
book the whole day for darshan.
Yeah, Saturday is when we have that's food.
I know, and they are coming Friday evening, leaving Sunday
Maybe
morning.
after the initiation when that darshan.
Yes, okay. I will rather, first come, first serve, because I asked them all, who wants darshan, please write me a
It will
message.
have to be after the initiation.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much. And Kumari lost her plane, or what happened?
Lost the plane?
I don't know. Her connection, her flight,
Did she lose the flight entirely?
I don't know, you forward me a message.
It was delayed 3 hours.
You did not forward me that, you just told me that she is the same airline and wait for departure. So
Okay, so it's.
Oh, it's in New York.
Newark. It was delayed at least 3 hours. I was going to ask you if there's any update.
no, she didn't write me anything.
She'll send us the update.
Okay. If it's delayed, then